Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and oh my gosh, this is like the latest morning. So I got a hotel. This is like 2 blocks from work, so I actually my commute's like 5 minutes, so I get to do a video. So I was I was I was in a mood to roast something last night, and then The Silencer ended up being a really good comic. Thanks a lot, DC. So then I was like, I remembered I had this, so I pulled it out, and I was so happy. So first of all, kind of funny story. This was the second copy of this book I bought. I was at Midtown Comics, and I picked out all my comics for the week. And then this guy who absolutely stunk walked by me. So then I did this little routine where I pretended to keep looking, but then I put all the original comics that were in my hand when the stinky guy walked by, and then I grabbed another comic. But this one has a much cooler cover. It's a bunch of the Iron Man armors attacking, I guess, the main Iron Man. Very, very cool cover. Yeah, this had nothing to do with the story at all. But anyway, so one of the things, Bendis is wrapping up all of his Marvel stuff. I think next month is the last one. And I noticed something. Usually there's a little bit where Riri stares at the camera, and he's not doing that. And it really made me think, oh, he's not even doing his bits anymore. So I think he probably just wrote this all in like 20 minutes. But I've got to read this because I feel like he is one of us. Not all the way. Not all the way. But I see him poking the bear and making fun of the stuff that the SJW Marvel people actually believe in. And just saying, it's just a goof. So there's dyed-in-the-wool SJWs, like Axel Wanto, like Mark Waid. But then there's people who just kind of go along to get along. Like, if really crude sexual humor and ultra-violence is cool, that's what they'll do. I'm talking about, Greg Pak, Dan Slott, and most writers are like that. And I think, actually, I had an insider who I was saying Bendis is SJW. He's like, no, he just reads which way the wind is blowing. Actually, I've heard that about a couple of the big writers. You think the big writers start the trends, but they actually don't. They just kind of optimize the trends. That's why I'm so excited about, like, there's this thing called the Deep State. I kind of barely know about it. I just know about the name. But there's this comic book, Deep State, and it's mostly women or trans, and they don't really create anything, but they weirdly have a lot of power. So I'm really trying to get more information on them. I think there's 2 groups in there. I think they infight a lot. So anyway, here's Riri, and she explains things pretty well as a psycho, entitled Psycho, but it's a good encapsulation. Let me get this straight. Tony Stark is missing and maybe even dead. And although he very publicly gave me the thumbs up to continue being my version of the Armored Avenger Ironheart, you guys from Stark Enterprises or whatever you call yourselves this week are here to take all of my stuff? Why don't you guys go after Doctor Doom? Doctor Doom is flying around pretending to actually be Iron Man. Just a little pause phrase. This is all the actual dialogue. I don't see you messing with the deposed billionaire monarch of Latveria, just some kid in her garage. Or better yet, why aren't you all looking for Tony Stark? Wouldn't you like to know where Tony Stark is? This is what you're focused on. You're going to come here and take what's mine because you think technically, legally, it's yours. Oh my gosh. I seriously feel like he's doing not a bit, but like he's doing a bit within a bit. He's basically saying the truth about what he thinks about millennials and SJWs, but kind of putting it like, you go, girl. She does the, one of the things SJWs do is they always have to prep and complete a thought because they don't like dialogues, they like monologues. So they'll say, let me be clear, let me get this straight. Let's make this perfect. So they always do stuff like this. Then I like how he puts in the or whatever, and then she talks to something that doesn't belong to her as my stuff. Then she does the weird, oh, you want to build a wall? Well, there's dirty water in Flint, Michigan. Guess what? The government can do more than 2 things at once. And guess what? these guys these guys are bounty hunters. It's like, oh, you want a bounty one hunt? Why don't you bounty hunt like 5 things? Then talk to her like a kid. So this is actually talking, referring to yourself as a kid while wanting to act in the adult world is a huge part of SJW and millennial culture. And it's one of those things, it really came out in the Me Too. I've seen a bunch of Me Too's by women who say, you took advantage of me. And I was 20. It's like, you're an adult. you were straight up an adult. There have been 20-year-olds who get brevet commands in combat and they become, what's the word? Not temporary. A brevet command is when you become an officer for a short amount of time, basically because of expediency. And then she's like, they literally talk about themselves as a baby. They're like, you took advantage of me. If I was 20, it's like, well, okay, should we take away your right to vote too, since 20 is apparently a child? So then the guy's just like, yeah, you don't. He just says yes, and then and then they do this, like, look at this guy doing the, oh girl, oh no you didn't. She's like, well, I hope you wore comfortable shoes, Iron Maiden, because we're gonna be here all. And then she just gives up the armor. And then she basically says, first of all, she gets weirdly light-skinned, and she says, you're right, take it. And then she just opens it up. By the way, when she opens it up, I guess it went in there. She's like, I did reverse engineer someone else's tech. It's not mine, it's theirs. Tony Stark's not here to back me up. It's illegally theirs. Take it. So then she's like, no, sweetie, you fight for what's yours. Okay, excuse me. Your daughter has a history of theft. She broke into MIT and stole a bunch of equipment that they would have given to her. You know, she's whatever, the 3rd smartest person in the world. Just apply to MIT, you'll get a scholarship, and then they would have let you work in that lab. They would have let you work in any lab because you're the 3rd smartest person in the world. And they even had an earlier issue where they said S.H.I.E.L.D.'s been trying to recruit her since she was like 10, or they had their eye on her, waiting for her to become an adult. And then this is her excuse. I had to give him the armor because our house is not structurally sound enough to have a fight near it. I think she says the impact tremor off of hitting someone in armor. So you've been ripping off Tony. Bill. By the way, I like what kind of breaker box is in their garage. That is huge. You're the smartest engineer ever, and you live in some like shanty home that will fall down if somebody claps. A superpowered person basically claps. You didn't want to fix your home. You just wanted to obsessively copy Tony Stark's life. And one thing I brought up that I don't know why I bring it before. Why does she wear Tony Stark's color? Her whole thing is getting revenge on Tony because she asked a teacher in the 1st grade to be racist toward her, and then she asked repeatedly while staring at her with crazy eyes, and then finally the teacher goes, you can't be Tony Stark. And she's like, I'm going to be. So then, this is where I really felt like, I was like, I think Bendis might have voted for Trump. Because the mom's like, no, I am not joking. I want your name. I want your telephone number. And then she's like, and then they do the stupid meet cute, but they basically both look like the same person. And then this is the part where I said, yeah. Bendis is one of us. So the child mom goes, no, I want you to look into anyone's phone and tell them how proud you are of taking a child's dream away. High fives for everyone. A kid's soul has been crushed. Excuse me. Your family needs to stop endorsing thievery. Second of all, if she's the smartest girl in the world, can't she instantly rebuild her armor? Also, why did she need his armor if she... Oh, I forgot, because she steals things. Okay. She likes to steal because she's a thief. So then we cut to actually a pretty cool... So there used to be 2 books. One was called, I think, Infamous Iron Man, and then This one's invincible. And then they combined them, which is cool because you get less Riri. And Doctor Doom is it's a pretty cool scene where he's getting attacked by these villains, and he takes him out, and they actually kind of describe the fight. It's an interesting fight. One thing I didn't like is or honestly, this might even be real. They're like, Victor has many secret talents. Very few know of his mystic-based ability to control weaker minds. I'm like, I don't remember that one, but yeah, okay. They were kind of just saying telepathy, but I just say a spell. He cast a spell. So there's a cool little reverse, double reverse. And then, I gotta tell you, I like Yellow Flash, but I disagree with a lot of his takes on things. So he basically said, this is Tony Stark being a cuck, weak, on the floor, and his dad, who's the classic evil dad. No, he's the classic dad. He's harsh. He's going to be hard on you. He's going to expect the best. So I got confused because I thought this was Tony Stark, but it's his dad. And then basically he's saying, like, here's the thing. We saw Riri be a complete entitled sociopath who then made the weak excuse that I'd fight you, but I live in a shanty house that'll fall down if I fight you. Like, she couldn't have just flown a mile away and had a fight in the sky. She's the stupidest genius ever. So, but then Tony, who's effectively been reborn, he's just like, his body rebooted. He doesn't have eyebrows and weird stuff like this. He basically says, why aren't you helping for people, asking for help? And he says, fair question, because what I've done to myself may not have been by anyone else's standards a good idea or even a moral idea. Involving any of the good people I know would make them accessories to something I know they don't want or need any part of. This is a guy who has almost extreme levels of honor and who thinks about other people before he thinks about himself. He thinks the situation I created will harm other people that are trying to help me. There was this saying in the Marines when they used to teach us how to swim and rescue people is when you're rescuing something, you don't pull them close. You actually have to hold them at arm's length. You have to actually be barely touching them. Because in their panic and their terror, they will grab onto you and drag you both to the bottom. And I think that's what he sees himself. He wants to be even farther. He wants to remove the idea that his problems are going to drown someone else trying to help him. Very heroic, very moral. He just describes himself as not good and not moral, but he proves himself by the way he thinks of other people by being very good. By the way, this is a different artist. Who is this? Stefano Caselli? That really looks like a Dale Keown face. I thought it might have been. Okay, so anyway, there's this weird thing where they introduce a subplot where he's adopted, which I always kind of thought they were going to do so they can secretly make him... Like, when I was growing up, I always thought Tony Stark was Mexican, because back in the day, only Mexicans had those little skinny mustaches that his dad and him wear. White people used to have them back in the 50s and 60s, and that's where it comes from. But then he starts talking... I don't get this part. He's like, all those years you watched me struggle, and so I don't know if he's... I don't understand what he's saying, that's the struggle. He's like a lie. This is what's great. So they do the classic bad dad thing, which I hate. Dads are usually shown to be evil or incompetent, stupid, Homer Simpson. But all my friends who are dads are good. I think I'm a pretty good dad. I got told that yesterday. I don't know any bad dads. I know one dad who's kind of not that great at it, but he's trying. He didn't have a dad, so he kind of is like a mom and then a friend, so he doesn't really know how to be a dad very good. I try and give him advice. He doesn't listen. But that's what I bother, because the first Iron Man was like very pro dad. Like, he was talking about his dad, and he's like, my dad, this country is safe because of people like my dad. I love my dad. And then he was like this like drunk lush in the second and other ones, and kind of like this really hostile attitude, and Tony would talk trash about him. I didn't like that. I get along great with my dad. Most of the people I know, yeah, dads are cool. So then Tony's like, the only way I would have ever known if I was adopted is if you would have told me, and you never did. And then the guy's like, neither did your mother, but let's not stop you self-perpetuating narrative of idealizing her while simultaneously demonizing me. Well, the reason he might do that is because literally culture has put out there that dads are effectively evil or morons. And then he's like, you watched me suffer. Tony's kind of coming back as a wimp. So then this is what his dad says. He goes, I watched you suffer. Is that what I did? I didn't raise you from birth. I didn't give you my name and fortune. I didn't protect you from demons of your past you had no say in creating, so the least I could do was spare you them. When you were 9, I didn't stay up with you when you were sick with a fever so bad I thought I was watching you die. I didn't give you every opportunity in the damn world to make the most of yourself and of your God-given brilliance. Yeah, I was hard on you. You hit the jackpot in life, and I wanted to make sure you did something with it. And now you're the Iron Man. And then Tony's kind of acting like an idiot. Why didn't you tell me I was adopted? Mark Waid does this thing too. This is like an SJW thing where they put a period after every word. He goes, why didn't you tell me I was adopted? He goes, honestly, you are my son. The other thing didn't matter to me. So much so that I guess I just didn't think it mattered. So this is deep. I actually kind of got a little emotional reading that out. So Bendis is he's a adopted father. So basically says, he goes, why did I never tell you adopted? Because I actually never thought about it after I signed the papers. Like, you were my son, 100%. And I didn't think it would be an issue for you. So then, I actually missed this page. He realizes he needs help, and then he calls for Rhodey. Damn, that's actually pretty emotional. So then we cut back to, hey, the women are an amazing crew, and they're on a silly Billy Iron Man skiff. Tee-hee. And then God, this real mom is like, she's trash, just like straight up and down. And I actually laughed at this part because she's been portrayed to be a violent moron. She finds like empty armor and she's all sad. And I just think she isn't really like, she just has this dumb look. Is like, what? But anyway, yeah, Bendis is one of us. I wonder if he's in the chats under a different name. I wonder if Bendis is fake Mark Waid. But anyway, here's the deal. I actually kind of like this comic. Of course, I hate Riri, but I think Bendis does too. I think Riri was his mockery of maybe the higher-ups of Marvel who wanted to do diversity and they didn't really care about actual characters. I think he's got a little shade to throw on millennials. I think he's got a lot of shade to throw on SJWs. And I think he read the Land 2 years ago when they were designing this character. He's like, okay, she's got to have the side of her head shaved. She's got to be angry all the time. She's got to be the smartest person in the world. But, child, she can get on you in a second. And this and this and this. And she's got to have a boy's body. And she's got to have this. And she's got to be barely interested in boys. Like, this is like the first interest. And he's just... They apparently knew each other. They even like make a joke. It's like, sorry, we haven't seen each other in forever, and then you were here. It's like, that sounds like, okay, but yeah, honestly, this was pretty cool. This was a cool fight. He basically mocked his own character and her mom. This is literally how SJWs talk. No, I want you to look into anyone's phone and tell them how proud you are of taking a child's dream away. High fives for everyone. A kid's soul has been crushed. Why don't you tell your daughter not to steal? Because it would crush her. And you know, wink. So anyway, I'm not going to rip this one. There were some real good points about, what makes a good father. They kind of exposed the callow, entitled psychosis of Riri. And, there were some good bits in here. So, whoa! I'm not going to keep it. Actually, it's all crumpled because I used it to open my soda. I don't like when you open a bottle of soda and it does that little spritz and you get a couple of drops of soda on your hand. And you go like this, but it's still a little sticky. So I was like, this book's going to suck. So if I wouldn't have used it like a napkin, it's not that. $4. This is a tough one. I would. I think we're going someplace interesting. And, check. I can't believe this. Go buy this Riri book. So anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe. And make sure you're still subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. Thanks to everyone giving to the super chat and the Patreon. You're funding a little content. What? Am I drunk? You're funding original content. I haven't worked on it a couple days because I've been moving and stuff like that. I'm a little behind schedule. I wanted to have all of the tones and the zip-a-tone for issues 1 and 2 done in January. Finish issue 1. It's done. It's done. I'm still going to work on issue 2. Anyway, and I'll have a bunch more videos up later today. Thanks. Bye!